Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Isaac Christopher Lubogo, and today I would like to talk about the philosophy and purpose and the justification for why you and everybody should actually be part of this wonderful group called Optimist International. Yes, Optimist International. First of all, as the president of the Ugandan chapter of Optimist International, it is imperative to articulate not only the origins and the purpose of this esteemed movement, but also the intellectual and philosophical justification for the existence and membership. Optimist International is more than just an organization. It's a creed driven by philosophical framework of self-improvement, continuity, empowerment, and even ethical leadership. And in light of the origins of Optimist International as a legacy in terms of hope and action, Optimist International basically traces its roots way back in 1919, when forward-thinking individuals in the United States sought to institutionalize the spirit of positive thinking and also community service. And the formulation of this organization, while a response to the needs of structured optimism in a world grappling with fear, with war, economic depression, and social fragmentation, the movement quickly spread across borders, establishing itself as a global fraternity in like-minded individuals committed to fostering personal growth, service, and even excellency. Yes? How does that infer upon us? In Uganda, for example, Optimist as a movement emerges as a vital platform for nurturing ethical leadership, civic engagement, and even proactive mindset necessary for national and continued transformation. And the principles upon which this movement stands are not just motivational platitudes, but profound ideological commitments that transcend individual aspirations, fostering collective responsibility to uplift our society. Yes? As far as the purpose for Optimist International, I would argue in light of the creed that defines this particular movement. At the heart of Optimist International lies its creed, a philosophical cornerstone that defines its members in light of how we should conduct ourselves, in light of the worldview. And the creed is not merely a set of statements, but carefully crafted ethical blueprints designed to shape a resilient and forward-looking and even service-oriented individuals. And some of the key elements of the Optimist Creed and their intellectual justification would be the following. Number one, we promise ourselves, in other words, promise yourself to be strong, that nothing can actually disturb your peace of mind. That becomes super important. Now, this is not an endorsement for escapism, for example, but a call to, in terms of having what they call mental fortitude in a world, fraught with economic uncertainties, political instability, and social disillusionment. Yeah, an optimist must actually embody a resilience that allows them to restrain in terms of composure and also in terms of effectiveness. Yeah, and this philosophy, aligned with some people call Stoic tradition, where Marcus Aurelius, for example, emphasized the control over one's mind as the foundation of true power. So remember that as we continue. Yes, we also talk health. Yeah, we talk happiness, we talk prosperity to every person that we meet. We talk health, we talk happiness, we talk prosperity to every person that we meet. Yes, this is not a mere cliche of positive thinking. It is a strategic intervention against the persuasive negativity that usually stagnates progress. Yeah, and you could argue that in light of the neuroscientific research, basically supports the idea that positive reinforcement enhances cognitive performance, motivation, and even emotional self-being. So an optimist therefore becomes a catalyst in terms of societal renewal, and that becomes substantially important even as we continue to decipher this wonderful movement. Also, we argue ourselves to make all your friends feel that there is something in them. Yeah, and that's extremely important. This aligns with transformative leadership as a model that emphasizes empowerment and mentorship. A society can only progress if individuals see value in themselves and actually encouraged to actionalize their potential. In other words, we believe that each one of you has a super seed, a master seed in you, and if blossomed, it could blossom into a forest. Not so. You have potential in you. Another aspect, we look at the sunny side of everything in terms of making you optimistic in terms of what is about to come true. Yeah, and this therefore is not naive idealism, but pragmatic approach in terms of problem solving optimism, when coupled with strategic action, produces tangible results. You know, research, for example, in behavioral economics suggests that those who adopt an optimistic outlook tend to engage in risk-taking, for example, that lead to innovation and even success, and that becomes substantively important. Even for us Ugandans who are struggling socioeconomically or politically, or financially, we are still optimistic because we believe that there will be that shiny day. We need to create and think not only in terms of the best, in terms of work, but in terms of an expectations, in terms of the best. You know, having that reflective ideology, that Aristotelian concept of or Idunhopia, okay, where we the pursuit of excellence as the highest moral duty. You know, it reinforces the idea that mediocrity is not an option, but for us to seek a more positive transformation in terms of the society that we live in today. Yeah, and that becomes extremely important. Yeah, we also need to seek to forget the mistakes of the past and to press on in terms of the greater achievements for the future. And this echoes very well with the African philosophy, of Ubuntu, yeah, which emphasizes progress through reconciliation and a forward-looking vision. That becomes important, and that is fundamentally resonates very well with African traditions as we know it today in Africa. Yes, so nations that remain trapped in historical grievances, for example, rely, only destroy themselves. Optimists look at the brighter side of things in terms of managing for what they call a renewal in terms of prospective success. Yes, and then we also think about in terms of wearing a cheerful countenance, at all times, to give every living creature that you meet a smile. Yeah, and that is super important. So this principle aligns with psychological research in terms of social contagion of emotions. Yes, a positive demeanor is scientifically proven to improve interpersonal relations in terms of enhancing cooperation and even building trust, and that is important. I'm told it takes more masses to frown than those who smile. So why not smile? Yeah. Also, another aspect is to give much time to improvement of yourself, so that you can have time not to do other things, or not even to criticize other people. Yeah. So this promotes a culture of self-discipline and intellectual, refinement, discouraging unproductive cynicism, for example, and that becomes important, my friend. So the greatest leaders have always been those who channel their energies into self-improvement rather than fault finding. Yes, super important, and that's the reason why I'm being a drum major for this wonderful organization, this wonderful movement that is taking up or eating up the world in the right way. Not so to be. Also, we argue in terms, to be too large for worry, too noble for anger, too strong for fear, and too happy to permit the presence of trouble. Yeah, and this is a call to transcend the psychological limitations that inhibit progress. You have to form that in yourself. From a leadership perspective, this helps to foster a mindset of unwavering focus in terms of problem solving rather than reactive panic, for example. And that's the argument that we're propounding today in light of being looking at the sunny side of life. Yes, and also we argue in light of to think well of yourself, to proclaim this to the world, not in loud words but in great deeds. We don't talk the talk, we walk the talk. Yeah, true leadership is demonstrated through optimistic ideologies in terms of recognition and in terms of action speaking louder than words. Not so. That should be very eminent in terms of the things that we do. Yeah, I think it was a gentleman who said, most men see things as they are dreaming of things that are not. Yeah, it's important. So why do you need to be optimistic? You have, there's a justification in terms of framework for ethical leadership. Yeah, Optimist International provides a structured approach in terms of what they call ethical leadership. Unlike traditional organizations that are driven by self-interest, and movements that cultivate a culture of selflessness, rather than service, we should be selfless, but also augur that with service as well. Not so. A community of minded visionaries are the ones we're looking at. A membership in Optimist International is an alignment with global networks for individuals, committed to making a difference. And this network basically provides intellectual nourishment in membership and even collaboration in terms of opportunities that provide progressive initiatives. Yes? And as a philosophy, if you like, it transcends the challenges. So optimism basically is not idealism. It's a strategy. It's an approach to problem solving, in light of Uganda, for example, where challenges range from economic instability to government disillusionment, in terms of being an optimist, it's a powerful antidote to despair and even to apathy, for example. Yes, so it's an avenue for civic engagement, for example, in terms of impact. Being an optimist, it means being an agent of change, and therefore this movement is deeply engaged in educational, in environment, in social programs that create tangible improvements in terms of communities that we so much depend on. Yes, and in terms of personal growth and even professional development, my goodness, they become super important. Optimist International provides avenues for self-improvement through leadership, for example, training, mentorship programs, for example, public engagement. It actually refines one's ability to communicate, even organize, and even inspire, a crucial skill set for any leader in this country or in the world for that purpose. So, my friends, beloved, optimism is revolutionary. It's a tool for national and even global transformation. So to be a member of Optimist International is to commit to a higher calling that transcends personal ambition and embraces the collective good, and to live by the creed that champions excellence, resilience, and service. As the president of Uganda chapter, I stand as a testament to the power of this movement. Advocating for the proliferation of optimism as a tool in light of continental renaissance, if you like. So Optimist International is not just an organization; it is an intellect. It is an ethical, it's a revolution, it's part of the right side of history. Once again, my name is Isaac Christopher Logo, the president of Creative Optimist International, Uganda, Kampala, Africa. God bless you. I bring you love from Optimist International. Thank you, and God bless you.